after dating this guy for 2 months, I realized I was making a big mistake. Wow. I know you're probably asking, but why did you get into a relationship with him in the first place if the relationship was going to be that short? Well, it was actually until I got into the relationship that I realized, well, I had actually made a mistake. But to be honest, I saw some of the signs earlier, but well, I just ignored them for some really silly reasons. Let me give you a little background of how I even got entangled with this guy in the very first place. So, I met this guy earlier in 2022, early 2022, I think around February, March, and he was quite well. He was nice. He had asked me out within the first 3 months of us meeting, but I refused because I really wasn't interested in him and he wasn't my spec. Up until the time I accepted to get into a relationship with him, he was still not my spec. But I was like, okay, well, let me just give him a try. He would change. Everyone has their flaws. They can work on it. I'm sure I will be able to influence him into becoming a better person. Those were some of the things I told myself before finally accepting to get into a relationship with him. Quite well, he was a church goer. Let me just put it that way because, well, that was what I got to find later on in our relationship. He was a church goer, and I was just like, well, let me give him a chance. I had earlier turned him down. So he came back in 2023 and he was still persistent, asking me to be his woman and all of the likes. And wow, I sat down, thought about it, and was like, well, let me just give this guy a chance. One never knows. I would be able to influence some positive change into him. But when we finally got there, into that dating phase of our relationship, I already had my doubts about that relationship from the very first 2 weeks. He put absolutely no effort in pushing the relationship further. Once I said yes, he was a king of silent treatment, and when we maybe had a disagreement or so, he would go mute. He would just ghost for a period of time. He doesn't communicate, nothing. You leave him messages, he's online, he's not replying, nothing. Then after some time, this went on and on and on. When I complained about it, he would be like, you're making up things in your head, you're overthinking things, I just needed space. I'm like, relationship is as good as new. We are supposed to be, in fact, the relationship felt old, even though it was a pretty new relationship. It felt overused already, it felt worn out, and I was getting tired. So I just woke up this one faithful day and told him I couldn't deal anymore. I couldn't do this anymore. The relationship was making me overthink. It was draining life out of me. I wasn't even happy. I was always just cranky, moody, overthinking and all, and that was it for me. He promised he was going to change, blah 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 and all the like, but I was done. I didn't want to waste any more of my time. And during this period, sitting back and thinking about that relationship, I actually realized that there were some things I ignored. There were some things I took into consideration I shouldn't. And my experience within that 2 months taught me some lifelong lessons that, well, I will not forget, and I'm about to share them with you right now. The very first of them is, never date a person with the hope of changing them. You are not the Holy Spirit. You are not God. It is the Holy Spirit's job to convict men. The heart of every man is in the hands of the Lord and not in your hands. Do not go into missionary dating. He will change. I can influence him. No. Believe what they are showing you. Believe the side of them that they are putting forward for you to see. The second is date people for their current reality, not for their potential. Date them for what they are now, not for who they can become. Because there are a lot of us out there that are dating versions of individuals, that are in love with versions of individuals that might never exist. You got into that relationship with that guy hoping that in the next 10 years, in the next 5 years, he is going to become this person. He will stop beating you. You're just hoping that he would change along the way. Date patterns and not potential. Date someone for who they are right now. If you cannot accept their current disposition, if you cannot accept who they are right now, then do not go ahead and date them, because that person you are hoping that they become, they might never in this lifetime become that person. So what do? Would you be able to cope with them if they never get to change? Can you live with them like that? If you cannot say a bold yes to this question, then break up that relationship almost after this video. You're wasting your time and you're wasting his time as well. The third thing I learned is do not ignore red flags. It was very obvious that I and this guy, we had very different views about life. He showed some of these signs even while we were still at the talking stage. But I was just like, well, let me just get into a relationship with him. I forgot the very first reasons for which I turned him down the very first time he asked me out. And I plunged myself into a relationship with him. I ignored these things. And trust me, those 2 months of my life are still like the wasted 2 months. Let me just put it that way, because I was silly and I ignored certain red flags in an individual. If it's not it, it's not it. Those red flags will not turn green because you got into a relationship with them. And the fourth is, when a man loves you, he puts in effort into making that relationship work. It is a two-way street. It is not one person doing all of the work and the other person just reaping the fruit of this work. Because I was the one doing all of the calling, I was the one doing all of the checking up, I was the one making the effort to see that this relationship moves. He was just there. And I am actually happy that I ended the relationship when I did. Because some of us have been in places where we are being treated badly, where we are just being managed. We are being micromanaged, we are being tolerated, and we have been there, stuck there, just because we are afraid to start all over, or we are afraid of being single. There is nothing wrong with being single. Your peace of mind is far more important. It is far more important. Anyone who loves you will put in efforts to see that that relationship works. But in my case, I was the one bearing the whole weight, and when I got tired, I dropped it. And the fifth is, a broken relationship will always be better than a broken marriage. If that relationship is not working, it is not working. Leave. If it is not working, it is not working. Except you have heard the voice of the Lord expressly telling you to stick with that and all. But if it is not working, it is not working. Especially when you have given it the best of you to make it work, and your partner doesn't seem to be budging, and the relationship isn't going anywhere. Some breakups are actually lifesavers. Some of us just refuse to accept these things certain times, but some breakups are lifesavers. So here are the 5 things I learned from that relationship, and I have shared them with you. If you learned anything, or if there is any of these lessons that resonated with you, please comment it in the comment section. And if you have someone that is going through a relationship, a rough relationship like I just mentioned, please share this video with them. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to comment your thoughts. Thank you so very much for watching and remain